Well, howdy. Well, this is another one of my mouse guns. This is a 1907 Dryse. Now, it's interesting. It was not made by von Dryse. Von Dryse was the inventor who is best known for making the von Dryse needle gun. And what's the needle gun? Well, that's what the Prussians used when they fought France in the Franco-Prussian War of 1870 and won. The French were using the Chassepot needle gun, and the Prussians were using the Dryse needle gun. So it was needle gun against needle gun. It was the only war like that ever. Before that, the Austrians and the Prussians had faced off, and the Austrians used the needle gun and cleaned the clock on the Austrians, who were using a standard muzzleloader. Anyway, a firm named Rheinmetall in Germany had, let's see, what's the name of the place they're from? Samadra or Samerda, had purchased another company called the von Dryse, was it Waffenfabriken? Waffenfabriken, yeah, von Dryse, which was a company that was set up to make sporting goods, basically, and was teetering on the edge of bankruptcy when Rheinmetall bought them up in 1901. Well, that gave them the rights to the Dryse brand name. So they used it on this particular pistol in 1907. This is actually a design by Louis Schmeisser of later fame. Well, see, Rheinmetall at the time was a maker mainly of artillery, but once they bought up this Dryse company, they got into making small arms. And this was their real entry into it. The Dryse is a very unique thing. You'll notice it does not have a regular looking slide on it. Well, that's because the slide frame arrangement was held by there was a patent in Belgium and in Germany and in France by one John Browning, who had developed the 1900 Browning automatic, which was the first use of the slide. And that pistol had a lot of different applications used on a small .32 pocket pistol under patent. So Louis Schmeisser looked at that and tried to come up with different designs that would completely work around the Browning patents. And this was his answer, by the way. This is a cocking piece, not a slide. It's a cocking piece. Watch this. It's the trigger on, the return spring on this is extremely hard, real stiff. But you'll see how the bolt is connected to this thing. And it's sort of like an Uzi, where the bolt, reciprocating bolt, is actually sort of wrapped around the front of the gun. Well, that's how the Dryse works as well. And when you cock it, this little pin sticks out. That's your cocking indicator. You can, it's a pin fired, a striker fired. So that was how you would, you have to do that to field strip it. And I'll show you half the field strip, only half. Take out the magazine. It's a heel release magazine. Then push this lever. And it comes open like that. There's one other step to field stripping one of these, but you need a tool to do it. The tool that they suggest is this little lip on the front of the magazine, which would fit in this little slot on the front of the gun. But believe me, that would not work. You could go down to the hardware store and buy a piece of copper pipe, or if, like me, you happen to have an 1873 trapdoor Springfield, you would have this. Perfect size for it. You would push in on this and then lift up and take this part off. Then the spring would just, on this particular one, because it's such a stiff spring, the spring would just fly out and break something else in the room. Believe me, don't ask how I know this. I've had two Dryses. This is my second one. I sold one because this was in better shape, and the other one had a normal, it wasn't a bad spring, it was just much less powerful than this one. Now, shooting this gun is very mild because that is such a strong recoil spring. So it has a lot of spring pressure to overcome, and the recoil is absorbed by it. The other one was really much more stiff in terms of recoil, but was much easier to field strip. But you don't really need to field strip very much. You can just get it open like this, and the guts is right there to clean. You don't have to take everything apart. Just spray it down with ballistol. After all, it's a German gun. But as you can see, this one's in really good shape. But I don't really feel like taking them all apart every time I field strip anyway. By the way, another trivia. Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron, when he was flying around up there, being such a menace to the, and becomes the legend in a Ohio Express song, and Snoopy, of course, hated him. Well, he carried a Luger on his belt, like most Prussian aristocrats would. He was a baron after all, the Red Baron. But he had a hideout gun, as most of them did. In the event that he fell behind enemy lines, he wanted to have a hideout gun as a way to get out of trouble if he got captured. This is what he carried as a hideout gun. I know this because there's some remarks made of when he crashed and died, and everything on him was taken as souvenirs, and somebody grabbed the Dryse. He was quite an interesting character. Somewhere around here, I've got a book that he wrote. He did write a book, and it's the style is quite Prussian arrogant, but it's an interesting book. Anyway, this is just another gun I've got in my collection of bizarre weapons. I love bizarre weapons.